You do not own one HVAC system, you own three bolted together and sharing the same fan and the same set of ducts. That is what the letters actually mean. The H is heating, the V is ventilation, and the AC is air conditioning. Three separate jobs that just happen to run through one air path in your house. Once that clicks, the wall of boxes in the basement and that humming unit outside stop being a mystery, because every part you can point at belongs to one of those three jobs, plus a quiet fourth job that only tells the others when to switch on. And one more fact unlocks the rest of it, especially the cooling side. Nothing in your setup actually makes cold, not one single part of it. Heat only ever moves from warm toward cold, never the other way, so your air conditioner is not building cold air and pushing it in. It is grabbing the heat already inside your house and hauling it outside. That one idea explains every cooling part at once. Begin with the brain, because it is the part you actually touch. The thermostat on your wall does one job. It watches the room temperature and decides when to call for heat or for cooling. That is really all it does, a switch with an opinion. So when someone tells me their whole system is dead and nothing comes on at all, the very first thing I check is whether the thermostat has power and live batteries, because a surprising number of total blackouts come down to dead batteries and nothing more. Here is the part that surprises people. Your heating and your cooling do not each get their own fan. They run off one shared blower, a big fan that lives inside your furnace or inside a box called an air handler, and that single fan pushes the air for every job the system does. It sends air out through the supply ducts, the vents that blow on you, and it pulls room air back through the return ducts, that bigger grill that sucks air in. So if the air out of your vents feels weak in every room at once, the suspect is almost always that shared blower or the little electrical part that starts its motor, not the heating or cooling itself. Sitting right in that return path is the cheapest and most important part in the whole system, and it is the one nearly everyone forgets, the humble air filter. Every bit of air your house breathes gets pulled through it before it reaches the fan and the coils. If I had to name the single thing that kills more of these systems than any dramatic failure, it would not be some exotic part, it would be a filter nobody changed. A clogged filter chokes the airflow, makes the blower strain, drives your power bill up, and in summer it can freeze your cooling coil into a solid block of ice, so no cold air comes out at all. It lives at the return grill or in a slot near the bottom of the furnace, and a thin 1-inch filter once changing every 1 to 3 months. That is the highest payoff few dollars you will ever spend on this thing. Burm, onto the heat itself. When the thermostat calls for warmth, a gas furnace lights its burners and makes a real flame, but that fire and its exhaust never touch the air you breathe. They run through a sealed metal part called the heat exchanger, and your house air blows over the outside of it and picks up the warmth, while the fumes, carbon monoxide included, get carried out the flue. That separation is the whole safety story of a furnace. It is also why a cracked heat exchanger is a serious problem, and why a once-a-year furnace checkup earns its price on that one crack alone. If your furnace runs the fan but blows cool air, the heat side never lit or shut itself down, which is a different problem than getting no air at all. Not every home makes heat by burning something. Some use electric heat strips, basically big versions of the coils inside a toaster, and a lot of newer homes use a heat pump, which is the clever one. A heat pump is really just an air conditioner that can run backwards. In summer, it moves heat out of the house, and come winter, it reverses and moves heat in. Hold on to that, because how it manages that in freezing weather is the best trick in the whole system, and I will come back to it. Which brings us to cooling, and back to that idea that nothing makes cold. Your air conditioner moves heat with a liquid called refrigerant that loops forever between the unit outside and a coil inside. Follow one lap of it, and the whole thing makes sense. Inside your house, sitting on top of or inside the furnace, there is a cold coil shaped like the letter A, called the evaporator coil. Your warm room air blows across it, the heat in that air jumps into the cold refrigerant, and the air comes out of the vents about 15 to 20 degrees cooler. That refrigerant, now carrying your home's heat, gets pumped outside to the compressor, which is the heart of the whole machine. The compressor squeezes it hard, and squeezing anything raises its pressure and its temperature until the refrigerant is hotter than the summer air outside. Then it runs through the outdoor coil, called the condenser, where a big fan blows outside air across it, and the heat pours off into your yard. That is why the air off the top of the outdoor unit feels hot. Finally, the refrigerant slips through a tiny opening called the metering device. The pressure drops, the temperature drops right down with it, and the cold refrigerant heads back inside for more heat. Round and round all summer long. Knowing that loop lets you read your own breakdowns. If the outdoor compressor dies, you get no cooling at all, and it is the priciest part on the whole board. If the system is low on refrigerant, you get warm air and often ice on the lines. Refrigerant is sealed, which trips a lot of people up because it never gets used up. Low refrigerant means you have a leak somewhere, and just topping it off is treating the symptom instead of the cause. If the indoor coil freezes into ice, look back at that filter or at low refrigerant first. And that little humming box that will not start on a hot day, the one a tech blames on your capacitor? Going by what techs actually get called out for, that capacitor is the single most common repair in the trade, a cheap part that leaves the unit buzzing while the fan refuses to spin. Picture one ordinary house to see how little hardware does all of this. On a July afternoon, the thermostat calls for cooling, the outdoor unit kicks on, that shared blower pushes air across the cold indoor coil, and the heat leaves through the ducts. That night in January, same house, same blower, same ducts, only now the furnace makes the heat and the outdoor unit sits quiet. One fan, one set of ducts, two opposite jobs. So that is the H and the AC. What about the V in the middle, the ventilation? This is where most people have it backwards, and it is worth knowing. In a typical American home, your system is not pulling in fresh outdoor air. It takes the same indoor air, filters it, and pushes it right back around the house. That is recirculation, plain and simple. True outdoor air ventilation is a separate add-on, things like an energy recovery ventilator or the exhaust fans in your bathroom and kitchen. And it matters more than it used to, because newer homes are built tighter to save energy, which is great for the bill but traps humidity, odors, and stale air inside. So for most houses, the V is really filtering and moving air, not swapping it with the outdoors, unless somebody added a system built to do exactly that. That leads into why any of this is worth caring about, the benefits, and there are three that line up with the three jobs. Comfort, obviously, a house that holds a steady temperature. Air quality, from that filter and from the way cooling wrings humidity out of summer air. And efficiency, the one that hits your wallet, because heating and cooling runs around 43% of a typical home's energy bill, close to half of everything you pay. That is where those rating letters on the yellow sticker come in, and they are simpler than they look. For a furnace, you want the AFUE number, the percentage of fuel it turns into actual heat, where 80% is standard and the mid-90s is high efficiency. For an air conditioner, it is the CR2 number, where higher means cheaper to run. For a heat pump's heating, it is HSPF2. And for your filter, it is the MERV number, usually 8 to 13 in a home. Higher if someone has allergies, but not so high it chokes a system never built for it. You do not have to memorize any of that. Just know AFUE is your furnace, CR2 is your air conditioner, and a bigger number is better on all of them. Back to that heat pump trick I promised. The question everybody asks is a fair one. If a heat pump warms the house by pulling heat out of the outside air, how does that work when it is below freezing out there? The answer is that even freezing air still holds heat energy. Air is not truly empty of heat until you get down near hundreds of degrees below zero. The refrigerant inside a heat pump runs far colder than the outdoor air, colder than the frost itself, so heat still flows out of that cold air and into the even colder refrigerant. When it gets cold and damp enough, frost cakes onto the outdoor coil, so the unit briefly runs itself backwards to melt the ice off. That is why you sometimes see steam rolling off a heat pump on a cold day, and it is completely normal. On the truly brutal nights, backup heat, usually electric strips, kicks in automatically so you never feel the gap. Modern cold climate models keep right on working well below freezing. The upkeep is genuinely short. Change that filter on schedule every 1 to 3 months for the thin ones. Get a professional tune-up once a year, one heating check and one cooling check, since that is what catches the cracked heat exchanger and the weak capacitor before they strand you. And give the outdoor unit room to breathe, a couple feet of clearance, and an occasional hose down of the coil so it can dump heat the way it is meant to. And that is the whole machine. 3 jobs, heating, ventilation, and cooling, running off one fan and one set of ducts, managed by a thermostat, with not one part actually making cold, just moving heat around the house in whichever direction the season needs. The real payoff here is not trivia. Next time a vent goes weak, or the outdoor unit will not fire up, or a tech starts naming parts at you, you will already know which of the 3 jobs just broke, roughly what that part should cost, and whether you are looking at a quick fix or a real one. I have dropped the common filter sizes and a coil cleaning kit in the description if you want to check what fits yours.